For years, wrestling fans have been crying out for Vince McMahon to be outed as the leader of world wrestling entertainment, and for years, one name has consistently popped up as being the man who should replace him, and that man is Triple H or Paul Levesque. Whether you love Triple H as a wrestling mind and you think we desperately need him to take over from Vince ASAP, or you look at what he's done with NXT and think Triple H is by no means the right man to take over, he should be nowhere near Vince's position. Regardless of your viewpoint, it makes a fun what-if timeline, and that is what we'll be exploring today. So, enough of the intro, let's get into the what-if. What if Triple H takes over WWE? As was the case in real life, Vince McMahon inserts himself back onto TV at the beginning of 2019. Vince adds his queen, Charlotte Flair, to the main event of WrestleMania 35, triggering near enough everyone in the wrestling community by doing this. This action sets the tone for the coming months, as Vince McMahon continues to get involved with the show and give his guys, quotes around guys, opportunities. Vince is solely responsible for giving his guy, Baron Corbin, multiple Universal Championship matches against Seth Rollins. Vince is solely responsible for giving Lacey Evans multiple Raw Women's Championship matches against Becky Lynch. Vince is solely responsible for giving Charlotte Flair SmackDown Women's Championship matches. Vince even gifts Brock Lesnar the Money in the Bank briefcase. It's like, Vince is just giving his guys opportunities. So, WWE is only giving the same people more and more opportunities, and the fans are absolutely hating it. On the September 18th premiere of NXT on the USA Network, Triple H cuts a passionate promo about giving the fans an alternative, giving the fans a fresh product with new, captivating superstars. This promo becomes the catalyst for what would become a heated Triple H and NXT versus Vince McMahon and WWE feud in the coming months. This brings us to SmackDown's premiere episode on Fox, where Kofi Kingston defends the WWE Championship against Brock Lesnar in the main event. Before the bell rings, we cut backstage, and an army of NXT superstars are invading the arena. Michael Cole and Corey Graves are doing the regulation kind of calls on commentary, such as, "Oh my, what the hell? That's NXT!" They're doing all those kind of calls, okay? The NXT army swarm the ring and lay waste to Brock and Kofi before the bell rings. Triple H looks right down the barrel of the camera and shouts, "Hey Vince, your days are numbered, pal." So we had Triple H doing that. From here, the build to Survivor Series begins. Vince McMahon is stressed out beyond belief. He is pissed and threatened by the fact that his son-in-law is challenging his authority. So much so that the WWE draft, which was initially set to take place in October 2019, was cancelled. It was cancelled because Vince McMahon panicked given the threat from Triple H and NXT. Accordingly, the brand split is ended altogether, purely in order for Vince McMahon to have one collective main roster unit to combat Triple H and his NXT faithful. Also, just because it would benefit the storyline and create a massive talking point and build up the angle, I would have Vince McMahon play up the Crown Jewel 2019 travel debacle as a deliberate move to stick it to Triple H. As Vince McMahon and his team take off back to the States for SmackDown the next day on a private jet, ditching Triple H, his NXT crew, and most of the WWE main roster in Saudi Arabia with a plane that doesn't work. Alright, that's what they do. Vince McMahon and his crew ditch. Vince McMahon and his crew ditch everyone. He garners immense hate from this. This move only backfires from Vince, as the main roster ultimately sides with Triple H and sees Vince as more of a scumbag for doing this. Now, at Survivor Series, it's a colossal Team WWE versus Team NXT battle. If Team WWE wins, then Vince McMahon stays in charge of WWE and Triple H can never challenge his authority ever again. Whereas if Team NXT wins, Triple H takes over WWE and Vince McMahon is gone. Vince McMahon is out of here. So, we get to Survivor Series 2019. After a long, hard-fought Survivor Series 5-on-5 elimination match, Team NXT, consisting of Keith Lee, Tommaso Ciampa, Matt Riddle, Finn Balor, and Adam Cole, defeat Team WWE, which is Brock Lesnar, Roman Reigns, Baron Corbin, Seth Rollins, and Braun Strowman. Team NXT defeat Team WWE. Therefore, Triple H is now in charge of WWE. Vince McMahon is gone. This match ends with Keith Lee against Brock Lesnar, and Keith Lee manages to pin the Beast and be the hero of the match, the sole survivor for Team NXT. So, 2019, Survivor Series 2019 ends with the WWE roster coming onto the stage and clapping as Triple H cuts a passionate promo about how this company is going to change for the better once and for all. Now that Vince McMahon is out of power in both kayfabe and real life, Triple H is running WWE. I repeat, Triple H is running WWE. What does this mean? What does Triple H's WWE look like? Well, the main thing is quality over quantity. I repeat, quality over quantity. As was the case in my WWE TakeOver video, Triple H realizes how irrelevant filler pay-per-views such as Elimination Chamber, Extreme Rules, Hell in a Cell, Clash of Champions, TLC, Backlash, and more are. He knows that they add nothing to the overall product and decrease the importance of pay-per-views, affecting the build that pay-per-views have. Accordingly, they are dead and gone in Triple H's WWE. Alright, the B and C pay-per-views gone. This means that the following pay-per-views remain in Triple H's WWE world: Royal Rumble, WrestleMania, King of the Ring, SummerSlam, Survivor Series. That's it. 5 pay-per-views, that's all. These 5 pay-per-views would be given ample time to build and feel much more important, because having Elimination Chamber, Extreme Rules, Hell in a Cell, all of them gone, gives these 5 pay-per-views the emphasis and the priority of the TV build. So, those are the pay-per-views. When it comes to weekly TV, the vast majority of episodes of these shows go for the following times. Monday Night Raw is 2 hours long. Not 3, 2 hours long. NXT is 1 hour long. Back to what made it great. 1 hour NXT episodes. SmackDown is still 2 hours. So that is the length of the shows, because Triple H is fully aware of how detrimental the third hour of Raw has been, along with the second hour of NXT, both of which have made each show even more hard to watch, less enjoyable since those respective changes have been made. So Triple H sees this and removes the hour off each show. With the removal of the B and C level pay-per-views and shortened TV shows, Triple H makes sure to have themed TV shows monthly. When the show is themed, an extra hour will be added on. For example, in September, there would be a Raw Unforgiven show that features some pay-per-view tier matches and would be 3 hours long instead of 2. Or a random NXT would be called Halloween Havoc. Well, not a random NXT, that would make no sense. Halloween Havoc would be the week of Halloween or on Halloween. So NXT would do that, and the episode would be 2 hours instead of 1. You see my thinking here? The themed shows makes the Raw episode, the SmackDown episode, the NXT episode feel more important, more interesting, gives more of a reason to care. So that's what Triple H would do. The next matter of business which Triple H addresses is the talent who feature on his shows and get pushed. Triple H does not feel the need to panic and throw wrestlers who were past their prime years ago into dominant positions on the show and lay waste to aspiring, worthwhile young talent. For example, when Big Show came back recently, and Big Show got 4-5 segments on every Monday Night Raw episode, he even defeated Andrade and Angel Garza in a 3-minute 2-on-1 handicap match. Alright, that would not be the case in Triple H's WWE. Triple H puts the emphasis on deserving talent, or commonly known as Triple H guys. Triple H sees legitimate potential. He sees the potential in guys like Cesaro, Keith Lee, Drew McIntyre, Matt Riddle, Aleister Black, Robert Roode, Angel Garza, Shinsuke Nakamura, Asuka, Rhea Ripley, Bianca Belair, Sonya Deville, Naomi, Sasha Banks, and Bayley primarily. Accordingly, Triple H focuses on giving these superstars even more realistic, captivating characters and putting them in legitimate, meaningful storylines. Coinciding with the storylines, less TV time will be given to Charlotte Flair and Brock Lesnar primarily. Roman Reigns, on the other hand, well, more on that later. So, as was the case with NXT from 2014 to 2018, the focus of the shows turns to logical long-term storylines alongside not hot-shotting big matches for no reason. Now, I know NXT in 2020's done the hot-shotting, and that's a Triple H thing, but at the same time, no hot-shotting in this world. So, when it comes to championship titles, alright, championships, Triple H makes the Universal Championship no more. The Universal Championship is gone in Triple H's WWE. He gets rid of it. This is because Triple H feels such an attachment to Big Gold that Triple H brings back the Big Gold World Heavyweight Championship, because this is Triple H's company, and Triple H is so heavily linked and associated to that once great championship. Also, the 24/7 Championship and Women's Tag Team Championships are no more, and the Raw and SmackDown Women's and Tag Team Championships are unified. This is because the Women's and Tag Team divisions are unified. To begin 2020 in Triple H's WWE, Brock Lesnar is the WWE Champion, Becky Lynch is the Women's Champion, the Street Profits are Tag Team Champions, and there is no World Heavyweight Champion just yet. The 2020 Men's Royal Rumble sees Edge make his epic return after 9 years on the sideline, and Keith Lee come out at number 15 and eliminate Brock Lesnar. The Lesnar elimination comes off the back of a nutshot delivered by Matt Riddle to Brock Lesnar, then a wicked pounce from Big Keith to send Brock Lesnar crashing out to the floor at ringside. Keith Lee eliminates the Beast and wins the 2020 Men's Royal Rumble match. The crowd goes absolutely crazy. It's an amazing moment for Keith Lee. In the Women's Royal Rumble, Shayna Baszler dominates, but due to Kairi Sane's outside interference, Asuka eliminates Shayna Baszler to win the Women's Royal Rumble match. Keith Lee and Brock Lesnar, they have a very similar feud to that of Drew McIntyre and Brock Lesnar in real life this year. Paul Heyman is calling out that Brock Lesnar was the next big thing and has achieved everything in the business several times over, whereas Big Keith has been a failure. Keith Lee doesn't deserve the opportunity against Brock Lesnar. Keith Lee has had a failed career. He doesn't deserve it. Meanwhile, qualifiers begin for the World Heavyweight Championship 4-man tournament. There are 4 qualifying matches. These feature superstars who are worthy of the opportunity. So we get the following matchups over the course of February. Matt Riddle vs AJ Styles, Drew McIntyre vs Seth Rollins, Roman Reigns vs Kevin Owens, and Cesaro vs Daniel Bryan in qualifying action. This leads to a special No Way Out themed episode of SmackDown on February 28th. The show is headlined by the 2 semi-final matches in the World Heavyweight Championship Tournament. These matches are Drew McIntyre versus AJ Styles and Roman Reigns versus Daniel Bryan. McIntyre overcomes AJ Styles in a classic, and much the same as Fastlane 2015, Roman Reigns sees off the challenge of Daniel Bryan to advance to the final of the tournament. This sets up Drew McIntyre versus Roman Reigns to decide the World Heavyweight Champion at WrestleMania 36. Everyone wants Drew McIntyre to win, to have his big moment. No one wants to see Roman Reigns have another WrestleMania moment, so fans are booing Reigns big time once again. In the women's division, Shayna Baszler is irate after her narrow defeat in the Royal Rumble match. Shayna destroys the Kabuki Warriors violently, absolutely laying waste to both of them in a borderline uncomfortable beatdown. Shayna Baszler just brutalizes both Kabuki Warriors. This turns Asuka and Kairi Sane face and cements Shayna Baszler as a dominant, threatening heel. Shayna Baszler, on one episode of Raw, even threatens to end Kairi Sane's career if Asuka doesn't give her a one-on-one match at No Way Out in which the winner faces Becky Lynch at WrestleMania 36. So, Shayna threatens Asuka to put her Royal Rumble victory on the line. At No Way Out, Shayna Baszler and Asuka have an all-out war. This match would be no holds barred. The shot against Becky Lynch at WrestleMania is on the line. It would be a classic, just them brutalizing each other. In the end, Asuka catches Shayna Baszler off of a distraction by Rhea Ripley, and Asuka makes Shayna Baszler pass out in the Asuka lock, as Shayna Baszler's in a pool of her own blood. This would keep everyone involved strong and helps build for the future. So, the build to WrestleMania sees Becky Lynch channeling some heel tendencies as Asuka's surge to the Women's Championship is captivating everyone. At WrestleMania, Keith Lee, Triple H's guy, defeats Brock Lesnar, Vince's guy, to win the WWE Championship. Drew McIntyre defeats Roman Reigns to become the World Heavyweight Champion. The Fiend defeats John Cena in a Firefly Funhouse match. Edge defeats Randy Orton in a singles match. AJ Styles goes down to The Undertaker in the Boneyard match. And Asuka defeats Becky Lynch to become the Women's Champion. Due to the coronavirus pandemic, the WWE takes an off-season until SummerSlam. During this time, Triple H implores wrestlers to be home safe with their families, taking necessary precautions to ensure that no one is at risk of getting the virus and/or spreading it. From April through August, Triple H ensures the airing of Attitude and Ruthless Aggression era Raws and SmackDowns take place on Monday and Friday night respectively, and NXT replays a best-of episode each week for a different wrestler, showcasing their greatest match in the promotion. This would be to see through the pandemic period when it was at its worst, hopefully, you'd think, and allow wrestlers to be home safe with their families and all that. So, the build-up to SummerSlam begins throughout this time with hype packages, build to the first WWE show, the first big wrestling show since the pandemic period began, the first big WWE show, SummerSlam 2020, and the card is the big one. Drew McIntyre versus Seth Rollins for the World Heavyweight Championship. Keith Lee versus AJ Styles for the WWE Championship. Brock Lesnar versus Bobby Lashley in an exhibition match, and Asuka versus Kairi Sane for the Women's Championship. That match began all from some beef, which it's disclosed on the WWE YouTube channel. We have promos back and forth, we air vignettes, so there's hype surrounding all the matches, and it's building up to be a great SummerSlam. At SummerSlam 2020, Drew McIntyre retains the World Heavyweight Championship after a hard-fought battle with Seth Rollins. This match would have been near enough identical to the Money in the Bank match from this year in real life, but anyway, in this case, it's for the World Heavyweight Championship. So after McIntyre wins the match, afterwards, he gets brutally attacked by Cesaro. Yes, Antonio Cesaro brutally attacks Drew McIntyre after his title defense. Then, Keith Lee retains the WWE Championship against AJ Styles before The Fiend, Bray Wyatt, makes an appearance on the stage. Then, Brock Lesnar defeats Bobby Lashley. And finally, Asuka defeats Kairi Sane. And Kairi Sane is emotionally farewelled back to Japan. The build to Survivor Series 2020 begins as Cesaro cuts promos on Drew McIntyre talking about how he has had enough of waiting in line for the chance to one day have an opportunity at greatness. Cesaro spent months sitting in quarantine thinking to himself about his own legacy and if he would be safe and sound with his career if he ended it today and knew that he never achieved his full potential. So Cesaro, he's determined to achieve his potential and win the WWE Championship. That's why he attacked Drew McIntyre at SummerSlam and he feels it was the right thing to do. Meanwhile, Drew McIntyre counteracts Cesaro by telling him that he didn't win the WWE Championship at WrestleMania after 15 years of working his butt off, getting fired and told he would never make it. McIntyre didn't win the title then in that moment to sit at home with the belt for 5 months, defend it once, and then lose it to someone who's done nothing to earn the title opportunity besides sit in catering. So that's McIntyre's rebuttal. It's some great promo back and forths, lighting a fire under Cesaro. Cesaro destroys people left and right on the build-up to No Mercy. Then at No Mercy and the No Mercy themed SmackDown show in October, Cesaro cements his #1 contendership to the World Heavyweight Championship once and for all by winning a fatal 4-way match against Seth Rollins, Matt Riddle, and Dominik Dijakovic. Meanwhile, Keith Lee begins a program with The Fiend, Bray Wyatt. The Fiend does very similar stuff to what Karrion Kross and Scarlett are doing to Keith Lee right now in NXT, the intimidating promos, playing mind games with Keith Lee, tormenting Keith Lee. Really, Keith Lee has to overcome The Fiend. Can Keith Lee do that? So the mind games are there. As for Brock Lesnar, the much-awaited feud between Brock Lesnar and Matt Riddle finally occurs on the build-up to Survivor Series. This gives us some Matt Riddle and Paul Heyman back and forths on the mic. They have some damn good back and forths. Just imagine Matt Riddle and Paul Heyman in a promo segment. How funny that would be, how great that would be. They have a really damn personal feud, all in the lead up to Survivor Series, bringing up the years of Matt Riddle calling out Brock Lesnar laughing at Matt Riddle proving himself against Brock, Matt Riddle being a legit fighter, Brock being a legit fighter. It's a very personal build, and it all leads up to Survivor Series. Asuka's first women's title defense after SummerSlam is against Shayna Baszler. Shayna Baszler is picking up win after win after win on Raw and SmackDown. Shayna's cutting promos, calling out Asuka, saying that she's scared of her. She says that Shayna knows that Asuka can't beat her. This whole time, Asuka is playing mind games with Shayna Baszler. She's relishing in the challenge. It's a very personal Asuka and Shayna Baszler feud. Some good angles there, some good promos, some fun exchanges. So, that is the Asuka Shayna Baszler feud. At Survivor Series, Cesaro conquers Drew McIntyre to become the World Heavyweight Champion. This becomes an emotional moment as Tyson Kidd, Sheamus, and Shinsuke Nakamura all enter the ring to celebrate with Cesaro. Cesaro has finally done it. Cesaro is the World Heavyweight Champion. Finally, he's reached his potential. He's won a World Championship in WWE. Matt Riddle, on the other hand, defeats Brock Lesnar in a 15-minute war. This match would be as physical as anything we've ever seen in the WWE. Just these two guys having a basically legitimate fight for 15 minutes. Just an absolute war. In the end, Matt Riddle wins by submission, becoming the first man to beat Brock Lesnar via submission in God knows how long. Then, also on Survivor Series, The Fiend, Bray Wyatt, defeats Keith Lee to become the WWE Champion. The Fiend regains the mantle. The Fiend is WWE Champion once again. Then, Shayna Baszler defeats Asuka to win her first Women's Championship. Shayna Baszler has come all this way after all this adversity and defeated Asuka on the grand stage of Survivor Series to become the new Women's Champion. And I'm going to leave it there. That has been What If Triple H Takes Over WWE Part 1. If you guys want to see a Part 2, leave down below. If you guys really want me to make a Part 2, if you guys think I really should make a Part 2, leave it down below. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, be sure to like, comment, and sub. Hell, turn the notification bell on. I'm going to become one of the YouTubers who tell you to do that. So, yeah, if you enjoyed the video, like, comment, and sub. You guys know the drill.